Aha!
What?
Fetching video stream. Aha, we're on.
Good.
That's right. This is the Jimmy Doan Show. Hey, all you crazy listeners out there.
And viewers.
Or I should say Gene.
Yeah, right.
But this is the Jimmy Doan Show. I'm Counselor Curtis. Jimmy Doan is across the country from me right now.
Yeah, right.
And we're doing the show twice a week these days, live right here on this channel. And afterwards, I post a subject time-stamped copy up on YouTube within about an hour after we get done here, over on the Jimmy Doan channel on YouTube, so you can find us there, and it's easy to access the specific subjects you'd like to check out. And today is the 27th of January, 2019. What's happening?
Well, lots of stuff's happening. As usual, it's government stuff. A lot of that. I'm going to try and get away from some of it, but...
Well, that's all we report on usually.
Well, I know we do. It's just, it's
some
Trump
tech
and,
updates
and the guy that got arrested. And,
yeah, well, we got a couple of... I got something to say about that. That's off topic.
Some more people that getting in on the race, and one guy that dropped out, and blah, blah, blah. So,
well, and then we're done.
And we're done, right. And then some light notes, right. But the one of the things I want to talk about, first of all, of course, the government is back in session, so everybody gets paid.
Yeah, what'd you think about that, the deal?
It's a good question. I'll tell you. It's a good question.
That's why I ask you.
Yeah, I don't know. It's a good question. It was one of these things where I don't know what the motivation is yet. Trump is one of these guys that really is he's pretty good at what he does.
Yeah.
And so
I agree with that assessment that it's not over yet.
No, it's not over. And as Scott Adams said, it's the fifth inning,
right.
And it's not over yet.
Yeah, I thought his assessment was pretty good.
Was very good, but it's like none of the other that you ever heard. I mean, his is pretty unique,
right?
And so he's the guy that does Dilbert, and he does a Periscope.
This podcast brought to you by Scott Adams.
By Scott Adams, right? And he does a Periscope once or twice a day, almost every day. Mm-hmm. So, and he has comments on things, and he's a little unusual. He was one of the guys that way early on, I mean, 18 months before the election,
he predicted Trump, and
he predicted Trump.
So summarize his position, though. Do you? I mean,
well, he says it's the fifth inning. Wait and see.
Right.
The fact is that all the stuff that's coming out is that he's going to wait this 3-week deal. Mm-hmm. Everybody gets paid. Now what happens at the end of 3 weeks? Because now we're going to do the negotiating. Mm-hmm. As you remember, when he closed the government down and had him in for negotiating, there was no negotiations.
Right.
The two leaders would come in, and Trump would say, "Are you going to give me my wall yet?" And they say, "No." So he walked out.
Right.
That was part of the negotiating. Okay, so now they said we're going to negotiate, and everything's on the table. Blah blah. Who knows what?
Right.
So at the end of whenever it is in February, when the 15 days or 3 weeks are up, what's going to happen? Nobody knows. I'm sorry.
Well, Scott thinks he knows. Scott's position is that the Democrats will go in there and negotiate in good faith. He says they won't be able to back down from Trump's laying out the case as if it's the expert's case. That is to say, go in there and say, well, this is just what we were told is the best use of whatever funds are available for border defense, and so this is the plan. And Scott's contention is that would be more than we would have gotten any other scenario with any other president, because he riled everybody up. Now everybody's paying attention. As you just spoke of, the deal before was, are we going to get a wall? And of course it almost seemed like he was going to build a great wall of China sort of thing, and which everybody, or I guess a lot of people I thought was ridiculous. Let's put it that way. But of course, some kind of combination. A
barrier of some kind.
You can't really have too much border security. I mean, to some extent, you want it to be secure. That's all. So there's some level.
Well, there's a lot of things to make a border secure, as you know.
Right.
It's not only the fence or the barbed wire or the bricks or whatever it is, but it's the people. It's the watching stuff, all the technology stuff.
All of those things.
Yeah.
The question is this: do you think the Democrats are going to actually accept any deal?
This is one I don't know. This is one of those times where I'm in the wait and see mode. I'm not going to make a prediction on this.
Mm-hmm.
Now let me tell you.
Come on, throw caution to the wind.
Throw caution to the wind.
What
Okay.
could possibly go wrong?
Right. Okay, here's the deal. Today, they opened it up, on Friday?
Uh-huh.
And so today's Sunday.
Mm-hmm.
We have another show on Wednesday.
Right.
So I'm putting this off until Wednesday.
Okay. All right. I'll go ahead and make my crazy prediction.
Okay.
Because I've been thinking about it a little bit. And from my perspective, at first I thought Scott was right because I thought the Democrats would have to accept some kind of a deal, and whatever a deal they accept at all, Trump will be able to, in a couple of years, spin as something that he made them do. No, regardless of how minor it is, it could be 50 feet of a wall in one section. He gets to use that as his poster. This is what I made them do, kind of a thing. And if he claims victory loud enough, I think everybody will say he got victory, especially if he just keeps deferring to the experts on it. However, I'm not sure that Nancy's not smart enough to figure that out. From my perspective, I think they could easily come back and say, well, we went and negotiated with them, and everything they suggested was just ridiculous, non-starters, and we couldn't accept anything. And they paid their experts, and the experts were hired guns or whatever. Just discredit the whole process, in other words, and just basically say, you get nothing again, and dare him to do what he sort of threatened to do, which
I gotta say that to me that you're on thin ice.
Well,
you
but
start
what-
to threaten Trump.
Well, but I know, but look, here's the thing. I think Nancy is playing only a political game, and that is to say,
Duh.
Well, what I'm getting at is I don't think there's any policy, even if it were good for her and her constituents or what she thought were the country. I don't think she would allow that to go through if Trump gets the win, because she feels like her side can do better if they get into power ultimately, which is her ultimate goal. In other words, sacrifice.
2020 coming up.
There you go. So
Right.
sacrifice an issue here or there, and in order to throw Trump on, keep Trump under the bus. And this would be, I think they lost, the Democrats, to me, I think Scott's right, they lost something huge in this entire exchange that nobody expected them to lose, which is one of the big paintbrushes, that big ugly paintbrushes they've been using to paint Trump with, is the dictator Trump. That is, Trump is going to do whatever he wants, and we're never going to get him out of power, and he's going to be the last president ever, and he's not going to accept an election, he's not going to accept overturning by Mueller, he's not going to accept impeachment or anything like that. He's going to go through, and this is it. It's Hitler. It's over. Not if he's going to cave to the Speaker of the House on an issue like this. If all she had to do was say no, then and put her foot down, and 35 days later he's out,
Yep.
cards folded. Then how big of a dork, how big of a dick is he? Is what he's exactly. I mean, how pushy, how dictatorial, that is to say.
Right.
And
Certainly, if you got run over by Pelosi, he's not a dictator.
well, and so I think they lost a big card. So I think if they figure it out, they may try a reversal, which is go back in there and say everything Trump proposed. And see, Trump may try a big. He may try to make a big win out of this whole thing also. He may go to the negotiations and say, now I do want a 3,000-foot wall, or something crazy, something big or huge, or I want a big T on it or something, and
Flashing Trump.
Right, exactly. And they may say, this is ridiculous, or I think, though, if you're just from a political perspective, that they may be inclined to scuttle whatever negotiations it is, force Trump to play the shutdown the government again card, or
Stupid boy.
well, yeah, and I think this next time what he would do is do the emergency card, and then they might try to use that against him.
Well, very well. We'll see how this.
That's right. So there it is. You've heard it first here.
You heard it first there. That's right. I'm going to wait a little while to start going into something like that.
Okay.
I just I'm a little, of course, one of the things that was so unseemly, yeah, was Chuck Schumer came out and said we taught him a lesson.
Well, I was shocked there wasn't more of that. I can't believe they didn't.
That was so juvenile. I cannot imagine.
Yeah, but that's right out of their playbook.
I know.
They have
but
the.
I
mean, Nancy's come out before and said, I raised 5 kids. I know how to treat a toddler. I know when I see a temper tantrum when I see one. Their whole playbook is to paint Trump as a 5-year-old juvenile. Right. And I can't believe they didn't say more. I couldn't believe only Chuck took that swing at him.
Yeah.
I thought Nancy for sure was going to say, well, just in the most condescending way possible, say, well, we did teach him.
Well, it's interesting. One of the things that is always interesting is to see the comments from just the regular old people, and of course the anti.
Well, everybody thinks Trump caved.
Yeah, I mean, really, even Ann Coulter.
Well, yeah.
Ann Coulter said, I've lost all respect for the man. I was one of the first people in there saying he would go for it. Now I don't know. It's Wimp City. Well,
to me, not only if they actually negotiate and they actually give him a substantial increase in border protection of any type, he will not only have won, but he will have convinced them that they won in the process, which is the best kind of win.
Yeah.
Because then they just you.
It's called a win-win.
It's a win-win. It's awful. I mean, it's great for whatever.
Well, we'll see what. Again, I'm withholding them at least until Wednesday at 4:00.
Well,
Tune in.
I think we won't know until after the negotiations conclude in about 5 weeks or 4 weeks or something. I mean,
3 weeks.
Well, that's when they're going to start, right?
No.
They have to start?
No, start tomorrow.
Oh, okay.
Absolutely. No. The fact is the negotiations are over in 3 weeks.
Oh, okay.
That's when the decision is.
Oh, okay.
Exactly right. Okay, the other thing that happened with the other body blow supposedly to Trump was the arrest and indictment of Roger Stone.
Right. You had to look at that.
No. I only had to look at. I had made some additional notes here.
Oh, okay.
After what I sent you. Fascinating, of course, was the part where 21 agents.
Yeah.
In full battle armor.
Yeah.
Showed up at 6 a.m.
Yeah.
Banging on the door, and they had and CNN was there, all videoing. Now, good news and bad news. People are always saying, well, how did CNN get there? Well, they were already there. I mean, the simple fact is...
Well, the word is they saw some filings at the courthouse.
Yeah, they saw some filings. I mean, it was pretty obvious. And they were camped out. They were basically camped out.
Right.
You've seen this all the time when people camp out. When there's a judgment coming down in a courthouse, all the trucks are out there.
Yeah.
And it might be 4 or 5 days. Who knows?
Right.
But that's what they do. So anyway, the fact there, the nice thing is, of course, this was all on video.
Right.
You got to see the 29 agents, excuse me, the 29 agents in full battle gear to serve this guy. And you're sitting there, is this what it's come to?
It's amazing. And
it's Roger Stone, for God's sake.
Shapiro covered it the best.
Did he? I didn't see that.
It looked exactly like the closing scene from Scarface. Oh. When they sent the war.
Right.
And the guys.
I met my little friend.
Exactly.
They expect to be treated.
Exactly.
Of course.
And that I was actually I'm glad you saw it the same way. That to me was the most shocking part of the whole thing. This was amazing. What if he thought for 1 second that they were robbers?
Right.
I mean, there could have been loss of life on all sides simply because they didn't want to send Officer Friendly with a pair of handcuffs down to his office at 7 a.m. after when he's having his morning cup of coffee by himself. What?
They get to do the perp walk there. But here he's surrounded by 29 agents. What do they think he's going to do?
Well, that's what, like you said, say hello to my little friend. And then blast off out the back in the escape rocket or something. I know what's.
He would have been that. One of the funny scenes I've always loved is one with Walter Matthau when he was an ex-CIA agent. I've seen this a couple times where they open up on the house and the house literally falls apart with the thousands and thousands of bullets that come crashing. I'm sitting there thinking if he'd showed up, let's say throwing a few firecrackers out or something.
Right.
I mean, it would have been, the building would have been. Let me put it. God, how can I put this? It would have gained 1,000 pounds of lead through every orifice you can imagine, and then some.
Yeah. No, it would have made the Butch Cassidy and Sundance Kid finale look like.
Nothing.
Young Guns, whatever. The whole thing. It's amazing to me. This was like like doing a high-speed chase through an urban area with 27 cop cars over a freaking parking ticket and
Right.
maybe a misdemeanor warrant or something.
The whole thing is, who ordered this? I mean, what? And they knew it was going to be on video. I mean,
I think you're giving them too much credit. I think that this was them just simply following protocol. I think this was the regular old by the book
protocol is 29 agents to serve a warrant.
Yes, that I totally understand that's their standard protocol. But how about an adjustment? How about a human takes a look at the operation and says, "Hey, you know what, guys? He's going to be at the office at about 7:30.
Yeah.
Solo, unarmed." We can literally send 2 agents unarmed to go pick him up.
Well, the FBI, of course, as those of us who are old enough to remember, well, under the reign of Janet Reno, when they could have caught what's his name in the store.
That's what I'm getting at.
And yet they decided to burn the Waco down and kill everybody.
They often
you don't learn from your own lessons. It's like don't somebody call up that video, please. And we're not going to do this again.
Right.
So
and no,
and
so,
we do. So anyway, the point Mueller is investigating possible collusion between Trump campaign and Russia.
Actually, no, there's not really anything related to Trump and Stone's thing. There's sort of an innuendo that he might have worked with Manafort, but this is yet another case. This was so interesting that, and Dershowitz pointed this out. The vast majority of the crimes that Mueller has charged arose since Mueller was appointed.
Yeah, right.
He's not investigating crimes that already happened.
No.
He's generating crime.
Right. Well, that's one of the things. Some of the stuff that's in here is, let's see, 7 felony counts, obstruction of official proceeding, whatever that is, 5 counts of false statements.
I can tell you what that is.
And 1 count what?
That is what you charge.
Official proceeding.
That is what you charge when you've got nothing on the person.
Okay.
I'm serious. That is it. That is what you charge, is obstruction. And that is, to me, the most telling thing. And I have a show video here. Here's the show image of all the people who were arrested and their various charges. And you can see, the conspiracy to defraud all these Russians here, conspiracy to commit an offense against the United States. How vague can you be?
Well, they said these are all felonies.
It doesn't surprise me. Look, there's only 2 levels of crime. There's misdemeanors and felonies.
Okay.
So everything is a felony. I mean, it goes... your second DUI these days is a felony. No criminal intent, nothing. You steal $100 from something, you're in felony territory, or depending on where you got it from and stuff. Felony. We really need a 3rd level in there to sort of make felony into something grand and dangerous and with some gravitas.
Well, don't they have 1st-degree felony and 2nd-degree felony and all that?
They do. They do. That's true. But they need even more. And in fact, in our system in Florida, we separate out into 10 different levels, and we don't even pay attention really to felony anymore. We go by these levels.
Well, the fact is, if you're ever convicted of a dorky little felony, that's well, now you can vote. But I mean, before felonies, doesn't that usually mean jail time or something?
Well, not necessarily. That's the thing is. You could get several felonies and not spend any time in jail. But even your very first felony, you could spend 5 years in jail for in Florida if you wanted to. That's the thing, is that your potential liability is so awesome right away. And I say there are 10 levels. Levels 1 and 2 are like the misdemeanors, and then 3 through 10 are the felonies. So we need some sub-misdemeanor categories of some sort of offense that's much more like you getting a...
Kill them all!
Yeah, right, exactly. Yeah.
That's what you sent the 29 people in there, just in case he'd ever decide to resist. He was in his pajamas, for God's sake.
Right.
Well, the door.
I mean, can you imagine? I mean, the kid could have answered the door. It's just... It's amazing to me.
Okay, so anyway, we did this. We've done that. The next thing, let's see. I'm going to skip the Blue Origin that has done some rocket reusability. Venezuela.
Okay. Yes.
Venezuela, the crisis, 7 killed in a violent crackdown on protests as Maduro digs into the
Speaking
battle
of
with
kill
Trump.
them all.
Yeah, right. But what's interesting about this, of course, is how quickly, I don't know who Juan Guaido or whatever, Haidado or whatever.
Yeah.
He's the opposition guy.
Yeah.
And he declared himself president. And a nanosecond later, the United States recognized him as the legitimate ruler.
Right.
And of course, what's funny about this, I mean, what's stunning is as much as you don't like Maduro, he was elected. He was Democrat. Okay, you might not like it. I understand. Might have been a little fraud or whatever. But the fact is, when the votes were in and they were counted.
Well, I don't even think you have to go that far. I mean, from my perspective, this is a sovereign nation.
Right.
I don't care how he got to power. He's in power.
He's in power.
You want to go mess with that, you do so don't do so at the peril of the United States. And that's what we are apparently quick to...
I just am blown away by this because immediately...
How about the hypocrisy?
Oh.
Is there any hypocrisy in this at all?
Oh my God. And what
I mean, did we just open up with a Russia investigation about interference with sovereignty? Yeah. And that everybody has been screaming about for 2 years, and yet the day we get the door cracked open for us to interfere in Venezuela, Shapiro's in. I mean, everybody. People are jumping in this like 2 feet.
I mean, I'm sitting there thinking, and well, I mean, some of the stuff they want, new sanctions, and of course the thing about it is, this is all a proxy business again. You notice, of course, this is like 2 weeks after the big Russian bomber showed up over there. Remember,
No,
2 or 3 weeks ago, that was a big deal.
Okay.
Their supersonic bomber.
Yeah, I remember that.
It landed over there,
a couple months
and of
back.
course they're what they used to do with Cuba. They buy some oil from Venezuela, I guess. I don't know why. I'm not sure. Whatever they do, they're buddies. So anyway, the people that said Maduro is the legitimate guy are China. Let's see.
AOC.
Yeah, AOC. Right. No, I'm trying to think.
Russia?
No, China and Russia were the two big ones.
Probably Iran.
Let's
Maybe
just see.
Syria.
United States. The United States will use all its economic and diplomatic tools to ensure that commercial transactions by the Venezuelan government, including those involving state-owned enterprises.
We'll use all our diplomatic guns.
Yeah,
I mean, tools.
Right. So let me just see here. What was I'm trying to figure out the other countries. There's a bunch of countries. There was a bunch of Latin American countries. They supported the coup by this guy. Whatever.
Right.
But there was like 2 or 3 South American countries and a bunch of other countries
Well, I mean,
that were still for Maduro.
Right.
Turkey was another one that
Yes.
came in and said. But
Shocker.
huh?
Shocker.
Yeah, that's right.
North Korea.
Yeah, right. I mean, yeah, exactly. But still, China and Russia. I mean, these are not to be trifled with.
Right. Well, look, it just...
And we're sitting there. Trump, of course, Russia, he first of all said, oh, don't do any military business down there in the United States, And of course, what they said was Pompeo, let's see, Secretary of State Mike Pompeo warned Venezuela's Nicolas Maduro not to use force against mass demonstrations and urged a further international support.
Now there's your false flag invitation right there.
Oh my God! The time for debate is done.
Man, if you're a Venezuelan right now, you know what you do. You go down and you get a chlorine. You get some chlorine and you make up a fake gas attack, right?
Oh right, yeah.
You know, right out and then you film that.
Well, it's interesting. The announcement came as Washington intensified its push to drive socialist Maduro from power, after winning disputed elections and so forth. Here's what Pompeo says: his regime is morally bankrupt, it's economically incompetent, and it's profoundly corrupt, and it's undemocratic to the core. I'm sorry, they had an election. What are you talking about? So once again. Mm-hmm. I'm old enough to remember the Cold War. I mean, 40 or 50 years of Cold War, where everything that the Russians did, the United States was on the other side. Didn't matter what it was. Little dorky little things. I don't know, the Falkland Islands or something. I mean, it's always, this, and here we are once again in Venezuela, which is going to collapse on it. So don't worry about it, for God's sakes. Just get out of the way. But they're ramping up again to have the two powers. The missile powers, start to duke it out on down there in South America.
We'll see. Everybody opened their big pie holes in the last few days, but we'll see if there's any resolve to actually get involved. If anybody actually does, I'm with you. Look, here's the thing.
Why bother opening your mouth in the first place? It's so stupid.
Well, because it's so easy. These days you can just go on Twitter and.
But I mean, I would think that most of the people like myself here in the United States would look at Pompeo and say, "What are you doing? I mean, what are you doing down there anyway? Why are you making out a threat against a democratically elected, although maybe some little suspicion, but." You look at all the other ones that we support.
Well, you know what they're going to say.
They're run by dictators.
Look, they fall for the same fallacy that everybody falls for, which is that the ends justify the means. We are going to go down there and make it right. He's messing things up down there. He's dragging the country down. He needs to be saved. And this guy can do it.
And what we're going to do is, because we have a great track record on this. Deposing nefarious leaders and making those countries safe for democracy.
Let me tell you, this time for sure.
Okay. This time for sure.
This time for sure.
We learned our lesson in the other.
Yeah, no, look, it happens.
Since the Korean War, when we've done all of this stuff, Vietnam, Korea, all the Iran, Iraq, or whatever the hell it is.
Sure.
We learned our lesson.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. This time we'll get it right.
Exactly. Okay. Now you got it.
Yeah.
And so there's a small, mild hypocrisy between that and the massive investigation that's going on against our government right now against Russia and the elected. No, but hey, if we say so, all in. And Shapiro's like, we should send them arms.
Right.
Now.
I'm going
arms.
This is one thing about Shapiro.
Again, that's never gone wrong.
No.
Like picking one group of 18-year-old moderate radicals or moderate rebels.
Yeah, right. And we're going to send them high-powered weapons. I mean, we're talking about grenade launchers and whatever they call them. And
That's right. And
oh
some of our Navy SEALs to train them.
What are you talking about?
All right, everybody over 17 over here.
Yeah. Well, what's interesting to me, of course, is about Shapiro. Shapiro has the world's worst record on foreign policy.
Oh yeah.
No, he's all for anything. He would like Israel. Let me put it this way: if North Korea's Kim Il Jung or whatever showed up in the United States, he said somebody should strangle him. Just literally. Right. Somebody should go down there and literally strangle. And then he also.
Yeah, I think if.
And then he also said if somebody was to, it is perfectly legitimate for the powers that be to bomb the crap out of Syria and already in the Middle East that has any little threat on Israel.
Right. Shapiro is still on the side of, he feels very self-righteous. He's a religious guy.
Yeah.
There's an absolute goodness as far as he's concerned, and he's on that side. Well, once you're on that side, anything is justified because you're on the side of good. It doesn't matter if somebody gave him the magic wand. He would start waving it, man. He would start fixing shit right away at the force of the wand. Just North Korea gone, whatever, Russia gone, Palestine's gone, whatever.
And no unintended consequences.
Doesn't matter because he's on the side of right and good and true. And it's the same thing for Venezuela. We go down there, we make it all right. And what they never understand is that by virtue of taking that path, they become the bringer of doom.
Right.
They
who will protect us from the protectors.
That's right.
The other thing, though,
they become Shiva the Destroyer because all it takes is one Palestinian to survive his onslaught and then reinvigorate the entire thing in a giant underground movement to come back and slaughter all of the Jews.
Or hijack a nice big airplane and crash it in.
Or whatever, and totally all justified, of course, because at that point it's in defense.
Right. Well, the other thing is, the thing that I do want to not remind people, but tell people about, if you can find it, the original Lathe of Heaven.
We got a copy, man.
I know we have a copy. We do have a copy. It's been copied. It's never been. It's only was shown twice on PBS or something, and I managed to tape it. But the original one. Now this is the one that was on PBS, not the later one that was so lame or whatever it is. But this is the one where the psychiatrist was trying to fix the world, and he had a way to do it. And every time he did it, it backfired. There was like 8 times in a row, and finally he just.
Yeah, but that was a movie.
I know it was, but it was prescient. It was prescient to me the way Missouri Breaks was prescient with Marlon Brando and Jack Nicholson, and that was Who Will Protect Us from the Protectors. So anyway, moving on.
Well, so we'll see if Venezuela survives our influence here and the rest of the world, whether we carve it up. Hey, look, we'll just do it like we did Syria and everything will be fine.
Yeah.
Like it is in Syria.
Yeah, no false flag coming our way, huh? God. Okay, moving on. Here's something totally different.
Okay.
For the moment, I'm just trying to think if I was going to get into who's running for the... Well, let me do this first.
Okay.
New people that are going to run. Terry McAuliffe says he's going to announce.
Woohoo!
And he's going to make a decision by March 31st.
And he is...
and I'm going to do everything I can to make sure Donald Trump is not in office in 2020.
Is he a Republican or a Democrat? I don't know who he is. Yeah, I recognize his name.
He's a raving Democrat.
Okay.
He's like the snakehead guy. What's his name? Carville. I mean,
okay.
Yeah, he was an advisor. I forget what he does, but he's like Donna Brazil almost. I mean, he's really
okay.
So yeah, rabid Democrat. I'm going to do everything I can to make sure Donald Trump.
So what do we get for free from him?
Don't know yet.
Oh,
he's going to wait. He's going to announce on March 31st, and at that point,
I'm going to put up our free stuff list, which goes house, education, car, phone, BMI,
food.
Yeah, sure.
Education.
Yeah.
Okay.
And healthcare and retirement.
All right.
And then what we'll do is we'll put up each Democrat's name and we can check the boxes as to which stuff we get from which ones.
Okay. So Bernie Sanders is expected to announce.
He checks all the boxes.
He checks all the boxes. Yeah. Top choice. Now, what's interesting? He's top choice among African American and Latino voters. I'm sitting here thinking, here's a guy that grows up in Vermont, which is white bread.
He's probably never even seen a black guy.
Well, he said he did go down to during his first run 2 years ago, whatever. He did go down to South Carolina and address a group who was kind of hostile. Mm-hmm. So he's going to win them over this time.
And he has apparently.
Yeah, but that's what I'm saying. He has, right?
So, and Hispanic voters,
right? Yeah, open borders. Open borders. Listen to me.
But Hispanic. Where did they take the poll? Would be Hispanics that are already here, and they're not all pro open borders. I mean, I guess they're.
They're not all, but I mean, if they.
I guess there's a large percentage of those two groups receive benefits, and socialism sounds like
interesting because the one Hispanic guy years and years ago that was against open borders was Hugo. What's his name? Chavez from the farm guy. Not Hugo Chavez.
Yeah, that's a Venezuela.
No. It was. You'll remember his name. He was a big. Wanted to unionize all the farm workers in California. And he said, you got to close the border because we're going to, every time you get all these people in here from South America or Mexico or whatever, it reduces our wages in the field. So that's another, as soon as I remember what his name is, I'll remember tonight. Democratic Mayor Pete Butthole or whatever his name is, he's joined the 2020. His name is Buttigieg. Whatever, he's a Democrat mayor of Cleveland or something. And former Governor John Hickenlooper. Also, he wants to run. Let's see. Oh, well, we also had one dropout. Senator Richard Ojeda, he's ended his 11. He was in for 11 days or something like that, and he's not going to. So he's not going to run. All right. Then the other piece of sort of big news, which I thought was interesting, was the comatose girl who gave birth.
Okay.
She'd been comatose or whatever for 11 years.
Yeah.
And she gave birth to a kid. So they said, how can this be?
Yeah, well, we talked about it. And
we did?
Yeah, well, we said we'll wait and see.
They found the guy.
Right, apparently.
Yeah, his lawyer says, no, that's no proof. The DNA, I mean, basically the DNA was exactly his. And the lawyer comes
identical
and says,
twin.
We're going to get our own DNA guy in here because we don't, we think this is bogus.
Right.
So anyway, he did. But they set him with a $500,000 cash-only bond. This is a nurse, okay? The guy gets paid, I don't know, $40,000 a year. So they're going to keep him.
Well,
the lawyer described his client as a family man with young children who has lived in Arizona since '93.
Not anymore.
Not anymore. Well, he's going to still be in Arizona probably.
Yeah, maybe.
There's no direct evidence that Mr. Sutherland. I don't like that.
Yeah.
I know, but we're going to, so. That's it. I thought it was interesting that the lawyer immediately he lawyers up and the lawyer says no evidence, nope, don't see it, not guilty.
Good man.
That's right. So anyway, all right. So let's see if I've got something else here. Next on the list, privately produced satellites open uncharted territory in data collection. Now what's happened is recently there have been, as we know, a lot of private companies are setting up satellites, and they're setting up these like little mini ones and stuff like that. Space junk is going crazy up there. But anyway, a company has launched hundreds of small satellites capturing over 1 million photos of Earth each day for commercial use. And what they do is they look down, and apparently they've got 200 clients, and a lot of them are farmers and people that want to see day to day what changes on their fields and so forth. The United States government also wants that information, but they're not telling why. So they don't have their own satellites, I guess, or something, but they also get these photos. And but I thought it was interesting that the private companies now are providing a lot of this stuff, and the amount of information that's being generated. Can you imagine 1 million photos a day? When I think about in the second, you see the movies of the Second World War where they would send the planes over with these giant cameras, and they would come back and they would have these film there, and they would look with a little magnifying glass to see, is that a rocket? No, I don't know. Is that a train? The stuff. I mean, even at those altitudes and that resolution, they're having to magnify it just like not anymore. You can look down at the license plates practically. So
gigapixel cameras.
Yeah, that's right. All right, a couple things.
Yeah, I was told actually recently by a satellite. A military guy claimed to be anyway, that these days if your phone is outside on the ground, the satellite can now read the text off of your phone.
No.
That's what he said.
Okay, well, great.
Yeah.
So what that tells me is don't leave my phone outside on the ground with the text sitting there.
Dangerous confessions.
Yeah, right. I killed him. So the other thing is it turns out that we're coming to a Minority Report. Artificial intelligence warning. AI capable of predicting and manipulating your future. Artificial intelligence is capable of predicting your future thoughts without knowing anything about you. The process uses social media accounts of known associates to accurately build a profile on an individual. A new study looked at 30 million posts from around 13,000 social media users to create a prediction on future activity. The results showed that with as little as 9 friends of one user, accurate predictions can be generated. Yeah, I say this is Minority Report, and they're going to bang on your door and say, we think that in the next couple of weeks you're going to commit a crime, so come with us.
Yeah.
But they will have 29 agents, of course, in full battle gear.
Yeah. So I'm not too worried about this kind of stuff. I mean, they're going to use it for predictive behavior for a while for marketing purposes.
Right.
And that's fine.
Yeah.
And they can tell you you're going to drive down this freeway, you're going to see this sign, you're going to buy these products, that kind of stuff.
That's demographic stuff. And of course, it already happens on the interweb. I mean, right now, it gets a little annoying, but the ads that show up on my Facebook or whatever it is
are the stuff you search for.
There's stuff that I search for, and I remember I searched for something like 2 days ago for Mrs. Jimmy. Mm-hmm. Boy, I'll tell you, bang! It popped up on my page.
And you ought to be able to notify that you already purchased one.
Right. Well, that was the thing. On more than one occasion, I bought the thing.
Right. But then it keeps sending me the ads, and I'm like, I already got this one. You're totally wasting your ad time there.
Yeah.
But it'll get better and better. And that's how you know how good the AI is. Because the first people who are going to use it, the first people who are going to use it, the porn people, okay? And then the second people will be the advertisers to predict how they can market to you.
Yeah.
And then after that, they'll start to get into some kind of creepy military application or whatever this person's thinking that the AI is going to predict. I mean, so what is what it comes down to is.
But you're going to go on that? I mean, statistically, this is true.
And look, there are some patterns that humans fall into very predictively. For example, I mean, if I know that you have a job I can predict with a high degree of accuracy you're going to be at a certain place,
Right.
the next day from 8 to 5 or whatever it is. But of course, the randomness that's involved in your decision-making process is incredible. It could be anything. You could take a vacation that week. So, in terms of being able to pinpoint your location, it's ridiculous. So we'll see. But
Well, they can do it on your phone.
yeah, well, I mean, the real-time stuff. Sure.
Right. Well, that's what I was telling people. The next time you go buy a little packet 7-Eleven to get your pretzels, make sure it's one of the aluminum ones.
Right. So you
And
can
when you're
stick your
done,
phone
you
in
throw your phone in there, and no tracking.
Mhm.
That's good. So the accurate predict, yeah, that's good. So I'm looking forward to that. Other piece of news. This is going to be fabulous. The NFL first male cheerleaders are going to be at the Super Bowl in Atlanta. Now, folks, I got news for you. This is probably the dumbest idea I have ever heard. You talk about fools. I don't know what this is all about, but nobody is going to go there and see these guys do. I mean, what are they going to do? I mean, one of the things that in college and high school, you get these really strong guys to hold the girls up and stuff like that. Okay, that's apparently they're going to go in sync with the girls and so forth. Who on this planet cares? I mean, this is just.
Hey, you get to pitch your the entertainment that you want to promote, and this reminds me of the girls NFL league that doesn't exist because
Right.
we're not going to watch that.
Yeah.
But people would watch. I mean, I thought Shapiro covered this one right too. Everybody should admit that we're watching the girls because they're sexy and
Totally.
That's a total male chauvinist, aspect of remnant of our toxic masculinity society or whatever it is you want to call it. That's what it is.
And I also would like to do this much. Is just as the thing is
to pretend that it's some kind of super gymnastics or something.
Yeah. No. Well, that's not all. The other thing is, I would like to do a count on the split in the stadium in Atlanta of how many are males and how many are females. And my guess is it's 80% guys.
Okay.
And so and of course this is 20% of the cheerleaders now are guys. So maybe that's for the 20% women that want to. No.
And I don't know. I mean, what I ask myself is, if I was a gay guy, wouldn't I want to watch the football players? You know what I mean? Like, would I want to watch a guy be dressed like? I mean, would I want to watch it? I mean, maybe you could have a trans cheerleader.
What are their costumes?
Huh?
We're going to find out. What are they going to be dressed in?
Well, they're going to be dressed like something with the something akin.
What, a little skirt?
Well, or
bra?
maybe a sparkly shorts or something. Yeah. They probably will. That's what I'm getting at. Is that the attractive?
I don't understand of course, I don't get it at all. But the other thing, remember, how often are the cheerleaders featured on television? None. Almost, only accidentally. And the fact is, they're for the people that are there. The 90,000 people that are in the stadium. Yeah, okay, fine. Except they're not. They're looking at the game.
Well, once you get to the pro level, I think that's the case. I mean, I remember, as you go lower and lower in the divisions, the cheering section becomes more and more important. In high school.
No, you're right. No question. I mean, I was watching the football, the high school one, or the college one, excuse me, and the cheering set, they have the band that's there, the college band, just like 200 people.
Yeah.
And they're bawling this stuff.
Yeah. Yeah, so, I mean, I could see it there and in high schools. At the pro level, I don't know, I don't watch football anyway, so.
Okay, the other one of the other things here, let me just get the over at in Switzerland, they're having the conference.
Davos, right?
Davos, right. World's Economic Forum annual meeting. One of the top conference at standing room only was on. The world leaders, MDMA and magic mushrooms should be legal, and they're talking about the psychic effects of the mushrooms, and that they have some medicinal purpose. And of course, this is kind of right on the heels of marijuana. And apparently they're actually, which they haven't done much with, actually doing some research on this to see what it does. Cures depression.
They reported about Oregon going into it a little bit, or
yes.
Oregon, as they like to say. And I know that they're moving forward with their studies. So yeah, I have hopes about that. When I heard you say Davos, I thought, and when you said top presentations, I thought for sure you were referring to the intellectual leader who emerged there, the young 16-year-old girl.
What?
You didn't see her?
No. Wait a minute.
She's been all over the news.
Oh, no, you don't mean Taipei or whatever her name is.
All I know is a very young 13 or 16-year-old girl is a celebrity in Davos right now.
You're kidding.
No, because she is so woke that she is reminding them that they have destroyed the planet.
Right.
That they don't care about their kids.
They don't care about her.
And she told them that she wants them to panic because...
Get her done.
Right.
As far as I have to grow up into this.
Right. And forget about your um
That's right. I did hear about that. Because the other one, I
just thought it was.
Oh yeah, that was top thing. Yeah, that's what Davos. You got Soros. You got the other people there. The world leaders from all.
Look, it's not important whether she's factually correct.
No.
What's important is she's authentic.
Right.
Okay. She really cares about this. I mean, really cares.
Her whole life has been devoted to this.
She cares.
Yeah, 10 years of it.
Do not doubt how much she cares.
Right.
Don't doubt it.
No.
Now, you billionaires obviously don't care.
Right. You got yours.
About anything but money.
Yeah.
You don't even care about your families.
Right.
She told them.
Yeah.
And they let her. Because they're waking up, is what it comes down to. I'm sure they're going to go back to their countries and be like, you know what?
I learned something.
Yeah.
Boy, I went over there and I was meeting with these other people. And,
that's right.
We were eating the pate de foie gras and everything, caviar, and 100-year-old bottles of scotch. And but I learned something.
That's right. She told us. I'm sure they're going to go back there and hug their families and finally realize what's important.
Yeah.
And it's not money.
Well, speaking of
billionairism is immoral. I just made that word up.
Yeah, okay, yeah, that's right. It's immoral. Yes, yeah, that's right. They're talking about that. That's what what's her name says.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, right. No.
Billionairism.
Well, it's interesting to see how the memes show up now, and the people that are really young. I was reading one. I don't want to get into it now. There's some girl that has become a YouTube sensation. She's got like a zillion followers, and she's like 13 or something.
Yeah,
9. No, she's 9.
Okay.
And she's a little kind of a, I don't mean she's a brat, but she curses like a sailor and everything. But
there's a whole bevy of those.
Yeah, I know. That's what I'm saying. This is the new, and she has an agent in Hollywood and everything.
Sure.
Unbelievable.
Well, some of them are made. They have little Tay.
That's Lil Tay. That's the one.
Okay, right. And a bunch of hundreds. The parents give. They basically take little tape, set them on top of their Ferrari, give them a bunch of hundreds to fan out.
Right.
And all the kids are like, oh my God, how does he have that many hundreds? And then he
come to find out it was a rental.
Well, of course, yeah.
And speaking of money, flight attendants now have to hustle for tips. Frontier Airlines has now encouraging, not only do you get nickel and dime to death for your packages and everything you can imagine, and your seat assignment, and there's every way in the world that your $180 low fare can be double that by the time you add on the leg room or a food or a drink, whatever it is you add on. Got an extra bag, that's going to be $40 and on and on. But now, as they run down the cart down the thing, and Frontier Airlines, the stewardess or whatever they are, the helpers on there, are hawking two things these days. They've been hawking credit cards, and apparently anybody that legitimately signs up for a credit card, they get like $50 or something as a reward. So they're pushing. Now they're soliciting tips when they come by and give you your Coca-Cola or something like that for $3. Would you like to? How about a tip? Like in a restaurant.
Right. Well, look. First of all, I think we covered this story a few weeks ago, but from my perspective, and I've worked for tips several times.
Oh, yeah, so have I.
And tips, to me, are the ultimate. They're the final exchange of goods in any transaction. You have this chain. You think about a restaurant. You have the suppliers. You have these farmers and ranchers, and then the shippers and
truckers.
Right, all those people, and then finally you get all these people back down, and the very last person is the waiter who hands you the food, and you hand the cash back, and that is the most important transaction for me in the entire chain, because if that one doesn't happen, none of them happen.
Right.
So you want that one to happen, and the way you encourage that, if you're on the purchasing side, is greasing the wheels. And I firmly believe in, if you're in any situation where you're going to be interacting with somebody on a regular basis, and they're going to do specific personal work to bring you something, I tip that person as much as any way that I possibly can. I'm going to find a way to tip that person, even if it's just a gift card or a turkey or something or whatever it is, because that's the ultimate.
Well, that's interesting you should mention that, because I remember the first time I tipped my mailman.
Mm-hmm.
And if I figured it out, it was, I gave him like $100 for Christmas, which is $2 a week or something for doing what he did. And he said, "You must be from up north." He says, "Nobody does that down here." And I said, "Well, I'm from up north, except I'm south of the Mason-Dixon line, but north of here."
Close enough.
Yeah, close enough, right? And but since then, I get a little note from my paper carrier. Says, "Would you like to do this?" And I'm thinking, it's not like it was in the old days. When I delivered papers, seriously, it was a personal thing. I had to go around every month and collect for the subscription. And what would happen is, around Christmas time, we would have to buy a little calendar of some kind. It was just nothing. I mean, we didn't pay but a quarter. We didn't. I think we paid like a nickel or something for these calendars. And so we would go to our customers on that month would you like to buy a calendar? Well, obviously, give me a break.
Right.
So they would give me a quarter, 50 cents or something like that. But that was I could get an extra $30 or something like that for.
And the tip or that extra purchase, that's the way you make that connection personal.
Right.
Otherwise, the business is routine. It's all set. All the numbers are rigged in, and everybody knows what everybody's getting. But if you get that little extra thing or that cookie or whatever it is, that's the extra mile from the other side. That encourages you to go the extra mile, and productivity can double because of the tips. And you look at the difference, when I used to look at the difference between the productive wait staff and the unproductive wait staff at a high volume restaurant, it was orders of magnitude. 5 times or something, so it was huge, the difference.
Well, it's funny you should say that, because we're the only ones that do that in the United States.
Okay.
You go over to France, you get the most marvelous service from any place. I mean, the wait staff is just gorgeous. They're professionals. No tip. It's included in the bill.
I know.
It's 18%. It's included in the bill. You know that going in. And sometimes what you do there is you'll leave like a little 20 centimes or something on the table, just as a little whatever it is. But the fact is that service over there at some of the little bistros we went to. Well,
look, they have a culture. Exactly. A long culture of restauranting.
And the fact is, it's a profession. I mean, you can go, the waiter's been there for 20, 30 years.
Their rodeos suck over there, let me tell you.
Okay. Yeah. Well, the bullfights don't.
There you go.
So, okay. I have one last thing on a more sour note.
Okay.
It just came across today, and that was New York. Has made legal up to 9 months abortions.
Yeah, now is that New York State or New York City?
State,
okay.
Yeah, New York State has, which is stunning, because the first comment was, "Why stop there?"
Right.
That's what's so magic about that? I mean, to me,
I think that's the argument both ways, really.
I'm pretty much a pro-life guy. I mean, I would think that it takes some pretty extraordinary circumstances, and you should know right away, and it shouldn't be any convenience thing. It should be a definite threat to life and limb for some. There should be horrendous if you don't do this, the world's going to come apart, kind of thing. But at 9 months, if you carted this thing around for 9 months, I don't care who you are, that's murder. Because you can go out after, I don't know, I forget what the normal gestation period is. What is it, 30 weeks or something? What is it? Nine times.
Yeah, after like 5 months.
36. Yeah, and the
viability, is that what you're?
Yeah, viability, right? Is after 5 or 6 months. 7 months for sure, but you know, I mean, 6 months. A lot of times you're not even showing yet.
Right.
But the baby's viable, and in vast majority of the situation, and so to abort that, it seems to me, there's got to be some other reason. There's got to be some some dire death threat somewhere, as far as I'm concerned. Anyway,
right,
now you can pull this kid out at literally right before birth. I mean, literally as you're going into labor, you abort the kid. I mean, this is unbelievable to me. I have always said one of those things is when we were doing the show before, I said the one thing we're never going to talk about is abortion.
Right? Yeah. We never did.
We never did. I said this is off limits for us. We're not going to talk about. However,
and you just kicked the door open.
I just kicked the door open because this one here to me is so outrageous.
Yeah.
That and yet they showed the picture of the signing, Cuomo or whatever it is, was signing it.
Yeah.
And all the people are standing around him just.
Right. Well, the opposite argument is, I think, at some point, you have to defer to the mom. That is to say, before she's pregnant, you wouldn't assume that her eggs needed protection, right? I mean, certainly
okay.
There's no child at that point, right? So. And then Shapiro's moment is viability, I guess.
No.
I mean conception.
Conception,
right?
Absolutely.
And conception, right?
Now
so as far as he's concerned,
that's a child.
Once there's right, and so what that means, if you think about it, from his perspective, he would have no problem with a government-mandated diet and exercise plan for moms, or some type of regulation.
Government mandated?
Why not? Because the child belongs to the state at that point, in terms as far as he's concerned. The child's a life, so the state has to protect that life. What I'm getting at is, while the child is inside of the mom, according to Shapiro, after conception, but while the child's still inside there, the child
of the state,
right? That's what he said, because she can't do anything about it at that point. It's protected by the state. So if that's your position, then you have to allow for whatever the state decides is reasonable to protect that life.
I think the word is reasonable.
Well, right, and that's where the gray area comes in, and that's where you can imagine all kinds of protection for the life, which interferes with the mom's life, and that's why New York State has decided to draw the line at birth, because at that point, there's definitely a change in that. At that point, the two life forms become separate naturally, and so at that point, I think you can make a very strong argument that if the mom lets the child just die there after birth, that the mom could be held for murder. Let's say you're a mom, you didn't want the child, you carried it to term anyway. You're not going to abort it. Then you have the child, but you don't want the child, but you can't give it away, so you just let it die.
Negligent homicide.
Right, exactly. What they do in that case, obviously, is they take the child. So, we have no problem taking the child from the mom after birth. And we'll do that if the child tests positive for like crack or something. They'll take the child straight from the hospital. Won't even give the mom a chance to deal with it. The question is, how far back do you go? Do you go, do we say all the mom, do we say that once the child's alive, 9 months, 8 months, 7 months?
Well, like I said, they're trying to figure out the viability. One of the things that's happened, as you know, is that in the last 70, 80 years, the viability has
more
way back. Yeah, exactly. I mean, literally, they're pulling out these 2-pound babies that are viable.
I think you could make an argument. I do. I think you can make an argument. I think as Shapiro does that. Once conception happens, that embryo belongs to the state. But here's the thing. I'm not willing, from my perspective, the state, the closer, the more personal the issue is, the less the state's interest is in the issue. Okay. And the more macro the issue is, the greater the state's interested. You know, if it has to do with World War, I think that's a state issue. It's a government issue. If it has to do with biochemistry in a singular person, that's like that person's deal. And so to me, that person's child is very much that person's deal. And I'm loath to allow laws to attach.
Well, there's a reason for that. Because we own our own body.
Well, that's what I'm saying.
The basis of all...
But you're not saying that. You're saying that at some point, that child becomes viable. Once a child becomes viable, your point is viability?
Yeah.
Once a child becomes viable, then the body, then it's no longer your kid, no longer your body. Like, they can come get the kid if they want at that point.
Well, only because they've got guns.
Well, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Would we authorize? Would we authorize the government to cesarean section a child at 5.5 months if we felt like the mother wasn't taking care of the child and wasn't going to bring it to viability? You know, when we authorize that
this is one of the reasons why I never liked to.
Well, exactly. And here's,
you could come up with every hypothetical
and they're incredible, and they're all awful. They're all hideous.
Yeah.
And so, you know, just to even think about it, and that when I think about that as a mess, I think to myself, do we really want to start imposing our laws on such a mess, such a thing?
Well, that's right, and that's why. It goes up to the Supremes,
right?
And it's a 5-4 decision, and suddenly it's the law. And I'm going like, wait a minute, you know, what are you guys doing weighing in on this?
That's a touchy subject, man.
No,
that may be the hardest one. I don't know.
No, I think it is. I mean, I agree with you on that. Because one of the foundations of libertarianism is do we own our own bodies? Yes.
Right.
I own. That's the basics of society. I own my own body.
Exactly. And you could trade that. Now the question is, if you're a woman and you have another body inside of you, at what point does that body accrue to the state? Yeah, exactly. What point does that body have rights? And I'm kind of with the birth people from the standpoint of, I don't see how you can allow government to interfere with anything with that baby before the baby's born. I mean, to me,
but they do it, and they do it all the time.
I know. We do.
That's one of the reasons I brought this up. It's in New York. They're saying,
well, what they're saying is the mom gets to decide up till the baby's born, so the state doesn't get to decide.
Oh, that's right. Okay, yeah.
So so they're saying, the mom can do whatever up to the time the baby's born, and so I know, and it's risky. But here's the way you got to look at it like this: what percentage of people are we talking about that in some way don't want their child or something? I mean, it's such a tiny percentage of people.
Well, not only that. If you don't want it, usually it's in the first trimester. I mean, you've made the decision by then. You don't wait until you're in labor to say, I don't want this kid.
Well, right, I guess. I mean, I don't know.
What were you doing? What were you doing a month ago?
Yeah. I mean, I would think that
you're out to here, for God's sakes.
I would think that it would cause you to reflect a whole bunch, and you would want to make it mind.
Okay, we've gone over time, so.
Oh, we have? Okay.
Yeah, unless you have something emergency fast or something. I'm done with all my stuff.
Okay, I think we covered all of mine as well. Let's see. Yep, we sure did.
Okay, well, we want to thank everybody.
Yeah.
For being with us here. We were pretty much on time today.
Mm-hmm.
And we'll be back on Wednesday at 4 o'clock.
Yep.
Oh, when is let's see, the State of the Union is what, Tuesday?
Oh, I don't know if they're going to do it yet.
I think they are. Yeah. That was one of the deals.
Mm.
We get to hear all the applause and all that other crap.
Okay. Well, thanks, Robert, Dan, Kara, John, Kelly, for joining us. Hope you guys had a little fun. We did. And
as we always do.
We'll see you soon. Oh, before we go, of course.
Our what do you call it?
That's right.
Copyright.
That's right. This music brought to you by Kevin MacLeod. This is Cold Funk. Our earlier track was Whiskey on the Mississippi, and you're about to hear Matt's Blues. So, thanks so much. And we'll see you soon.
Good song.